Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And that's all, folks. I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in Hollywood. They're freaking out about the Warner Brothers acquisition, sale, merger, whatever the hell is going to go on with Warner Brothers. Theater owners are freaking out because they're like, hey, we're already having a hard time getting people to the movie theater. And if, especially if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, there probably aren't going to be as many movies.
What release the theaters? Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do? And that's a good question, right? We're kind of at the end of line. And speaking of end of line, Tron Ares, hasn't doing very good either.
Yeah, it's been out for like almost a month, and globally it hasn't even hit 135 million.
Yeah, that's not good. Look, the hits are few and far between. The days of every major tentpole movie making $500 million to $1 billion.
People are tired of tentpole movies. I'm telling you, they don't want them anymore. Like, they don't care about Star Wars and Marvel and Tron. Well, Tron never. To be fair, it wasn't really ever that popular compared to like other franchises. But the things that are doing well are things that aren't those. Like the Minecraft movie. The Mario Brothers video game type stuff. Independents like Weapons. Things like that. Those are the ones that are doing well. Like last year, the year before was Five Nights at Freddy's did really well because it didn't had a small budget, and it's the stuff people want. But overall, theaters aren't going to have as much money because people don't have the money to go to the movies.
No, and the stuff they're going for is really weird. I mean, they're so desperate now for movies that they're re-releasing a lot of classic movies. I mean, just in the last couple months, I took my daughter to go see the Dark Crystal and Casper in the theater.
Yeah, now we're going to be going to see How the Grinch Stole Christmas with the Jim Carrey version because she loves that movie. And that's coming out in December. Yeah. And they're just, they're bringing old stuff back to make sure there's stuff in the theaters. Now, I think we're going to see an uptick. We got Zootopia 2 coming. We got Wicked for Good. We got the next Avatar, Fire and Ash movie. And I don't think Avatar does great stateside, but it does really, really well globally. Yeah. So I think that, those three things are going to help boost the box office that needs it really bad. But again, I don't think they're going to do the numbers that they were doing before because people don't have the money. You have the whole benefits being cut thing, and people, there are a lot of people who work full-time jobs, they get assistance and stuff, and now their money has to go to pay for food if they can spare it, and they don't have the money to go out to go to the movie. I mean...
Yeah. So what happens is it's kind of like a bank run scenario, right? And we saw this. I mean, this is why I said before in the other video, it feels potentially like another 2008 situation where when people don't have money, they stop spending money. And then it becomes this loop of like, okay, well, let's stop spending money. So the economy winds down. Oh, things are bad because there are all kinds of layoffs because people aren't spending money. So the fear of the economy being bad actually creates a bad economy. People don't feel good about spending money if they're starting to, hunker down on, expenses like theaters and, going out to eat.
It's been happening, but now it's going to escate.
It's going to escalate
significantly. And you have people getting laid off right and left because of job cuts due to AI or different things like that. It's just going to be a snowball effect that's going to mean that people aren't going to have the money. So, that being said, I think they're waiting to see who buys Warner Brothers because if it was Paramount, Skydance, which they're mad about because they don't like them, they'll still have theatrical releases. But if it's Netflix has been doing more with theaters like K-pop Demon Hunters, and then they're going to bring out the last Stranger Things part in theaters. But they don't do a whole lot with theaters.
No. So we'll see what happens. We're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
You'll get a bigger woohoo if you go out to Kickstarter, back Geeky Sparkles Christmas Party Glitter Retro Enamel Pin Set. Check it out, guys.
Woohoo!
They're glittery.
Yeah, and we've hit the 5,000, so that means there'll be a sticker. Everybody's going to get the sticker, and it'll be the geeky.
The geeky.
Print. I wish I was that cute.
I think you're that cute.
Aw, you drew me from your heart. I get it, not from reality. Anyway.
So, check it out, guys. When we hit 8,000, we will turn Christmas Geeky into a pin like we did with the Halloween pins. And these are glitter. Originally, we were going to do them all as one set. We're going to do like glitter and glow, and then we kind of broke them up into the two sets. So this is the second part of this series. And yeah, check it out on Kickstarter, link in the description. Let's talk about this because, yeah, it's not looking good for theaters. This is coming from The Wrap. As of today, Warner Brothers' sale is a red alert moment for theaters. Now, we didn't do an update on the situation with Warner Brothers. Last we heard it was going to be potentially Skydance Paramount. Now they're talking Netflix has thrown their hat into the ring. They've actually brought people in to evaluate Warner Brothers. Which would be a huge coup if Netflix.
Yeah, because Netflix is already the biggest streamer. I mean, YouTube, I guess, has most TV time cornered, but that's because of creators, not because of streaming service. Guy who owns the CEO. Keep that in mind, dumbass. Anyway.
Yeah. So again, this is coming from The Wrap. Warner Brothers sales a red alert moment for theaters. Theaters have already been calling on Hollywood to give them more films, but Warner's acquisition could crush those hopes because that means it would be fewer movies. They said it's a red alert crisis for already struggling movie theaters that could lead to antitrust legal actions or protests from global exhibitors who would suffer from fewer movies in theaters, they told The Wrap. It could be any one of these.
So they were all mad about Paramount and Skydance, potentially buying it. But if Netflix buys it, it's even worse. Like they're talking, they might start screaming antitrust, which they tried to do, I think, with the Disney and Fox thing too. They try to see antitrust. And honestly, if you have Paramount, getting Skydance getting Paramount, and then getting Warner Brothers, I think they're gonna be screaming antitrust there too, because that's how many places can you take? You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I mean, and we called this before, like years ago, and all these studios said, "Hey, we're going to start our own streaming services and compete with Netflix, and it's going to wind up like Highlander." And
that's what we even called it back then. We said it's Highlander.
Like
we said
5
that back
years ago.
then. Yeah,
this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. You might have one or two, but you had literally every studio took a look at Netflix and they're like, "Oh, we can do what they're doing because they're big because of our content," not realizing that Netflix had the install base. I mean, this would be like every video game publisher creating their own console to go against, Nintendo or Sony.
Right.
Or whoever.
Sometimes it's not worth the expense because, and we said then, like a lot of these places like Paramount, we're never going to be big enough to warn it. And what's going to happen is everybody's splitting up. It's going to make smaller things that never going to be able to compete. And the only way you're going to be able to compete is if you roll bigger things into it, which is one of the reasons why Disney's competitive, because they have ESPN and Hulu in there. It's just you're going to have to. They're all going to have to merge, and it's going to be Highlander because we were seeing it at the time with blogs. We're like, it's going to happen all over again, and that's exactly what's going on. And now we're seeing it with the movies, the studios that you didn't think were going to, they might sell their streaming, but they weren't going to sell themselves. No, now they're all for sale.
Yeah.
First Paramount, now Warner Brothers. 20 years ago, if you said Warner Brothers is gonna, I'd been like, hell no.
Well, Warner, I mean, they've been
sold repeatedly the last few years. Yeah,
they have been because they made. That's
why I said 20 years ago. I wouldn't have believed
a lot of bad decisions, and it's.
The last few years, yes.
Any more, like all these legacy studios are basically just IP farms, and that's the truth, and it sucks. It does, but everything's changing, and basically the tech companies are gonna run Hollywood, and they know
Unfortunately, though, here's the problem. I think that's one of the reasons we're having trouble is that the one they're going to run Hollywood, but the people they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. But then the flip side is, maybe it'll work out better because as of late, Hollywood doesn't know what it's doing either. So.
That's also true, right? But here they said they talked to multiple theatrical executives. They spoke to The Wrap this week on the condition of anonymity and conveyed a sense of grave concern, if not panic, over the possibility of a studio that grossed more than $4 billion worldwide this year and provided many of the box office hits of the past 6 months being assimilated into another company and having its output dramatically curtailed.
How will it be curtailed? It just won't go to theaters.
If it's Netflix especially, but they're talking Comcast too. And if Paramount buys them, they're probably not going to want to compete. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be Paramount and Warner Brothers, and they'll still put out the same amount of movies that probably Warner Brothers by itself did, but they're not going to, like, how many Fox movies are we seeing now that Disney bought Fox? We're not seeing a lot of Fox movies unless it's like a legacy thing like, Alien or Predator or something like that.
That's true.
Yeah. So
and Comcast, they're going to want to buy it so they can use DC characters at their theme parks instead of the Marvel characters.
That was talked about.
I know.
Several years ago because they got to do something. For those of you who don't know, in Universal, they had this deal with
in Florida, Universal.
In Florida. It's only in Florida that they have the Marvel characters in Islands of Adventure, which is weird because it's like Disney can't use a lot of the characters in Florida, like Spider-Man, stuff like that, because they're being used in the Islands of Adventure. But eventually they think they're going to get rid of them and replace them. And it'd be a real easy fix. You just bring in the DC characters like, oh, the Hulk coaster is a Batman coaster now. And it's real easy to do. Spider-Man ride is now another, DC Superman ride or something. And they're also looking to get rid of the Simpsons too. So, but again,
I think the Simpsons, from what I'm hearing behind the scenes, the Simpsons might have got extended again for at least, because originally it was going to end here soon, but I think he got extended out.
I want Back to the Future.
2030 or something like that.
I want Back to the Future back.
Don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing.
Simpsons is not good. It's not nearly as good as. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So theater owners could pay a steep price if they do not speak out now. Further consolidation would deal a massive blow to the industry, which still hasn't recovered from years of weak box office returns, hampered by streaming, a pandemic, and oh my God, guys, the strikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you all struck. You wanted more. Now there's few of you with jobs, and there might even be fewer of you yet if we keep getting mergers.
Yeah. Now this is true. This is what I just got done saying. So there we go. We don't know what we're talking about. This scenario played out after Disney acquired 20th Century Fox, which led to fewer films and theatrical release overall as Disney turned 20th Century into something of a Hulu movie silo, only recently increasing the studio's theatrical output. Yeah, just an Alien and a Predator movie and a couple of other things have been released under 20th Century, but it used to be that Fox put movies out all the time. But they're not going to cannibalize.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Stuff. Here's the thing that you would think, though, because back in the day, there'd be movies and they'd be in theaters for like way longer than movies are in theaters now, and there was a heck of a lot fewer of them. You'd think fewer movies that were done well would do better, but the ones they're putting out aren't doing well. Like there's a few. You get your ones that do really good, like Lilo and Stitch, live action did really well, and they have here and there different movies that perform. But because of the budgets being so high on a lot of these, and then because people just aren't going to the theater, they're not doing as well as they could. They're not making as much money, so you're not seeing as many. But you'd think that would mean that those ones that were left would do better, but they're not.
So hear me out. This is how you solve that problem. You start the production on a movie. You do it like Kickstarter. Did we mention that Geeky Sparkles has a Kickstarter? See how I did that? You do it like Kickstarter. You pre-sell tickets. If the interest is not there, you throw it on streaming. You don't even bother. You give her their money back, and you don't even bother releasing it in the theater because there's no point.
I don't know if that would do well because a lot of people don't decide they're going to go to the movie until like that day or like a couple days before. Like,
but you vote with your. I mean, I know this is a wild idea. It probably would never work, but you vote with your wallets. It's like if you're really that interested in seeing Tron Ares on the big screen, then nobody was, but the ticket pre-sales were a pretty good indicator that nobody was. Then you have to vote with your wallet. And what's going to happen, I'm telling you what's going to happen now, because the technology's getting there. Eventually, the window from green light to final film is going to be a lot smaller. It might be that a movie only takes, a couple of months to make versus a couple of years to make because of advances in AI or whatever. So what they'll do is they'll be like, do you really want this movie? We'll kickstart it with pre-sales for tickets. And if we think it's a good idea, but it's not worth the theatrical, we'll cut the budget back and we'll throw it on streaming. Well,
I think the whole problem is the streaming. Is people, I can't afford to go to the movie, but I can afford my streaming payment because that's, like some of these services are a cost of one ticket depending on where you go. Paying a time a day. So it's like I can just pay a monthly subscription service and get to see all these movies and shows. And that's streaming is a lot to do with it, but I just don't think, I think people don't care anymore. Like they're not going to the theater. What they want to see, what's exciting to them is something that's viral. It's like, we had the chicken jockey thing. So everybody went to see a Minecraft movie. It's the things that resonate people like video games and stuff. They don't care about Star Wars. They don't care about Marvel anymore. You burned them out. They don't give two shits. Somehow Disney spent all this money acquiring stuff. And the only thing they have left that people might want to see is maybe Frozen 3. But, in Toy Story 5, it's all sequels to what they already have, Zootopia 2. But the stuff that they acquired, like Star Wars, Willow, they destroyed. Indiana Jones, they destroyed. Marvel, people are just sick to death of Marvel. They aren't going to the Marvel films, and even the ones that do better are barely even breaking even, if they're breaking even at all.
Yeah.
It's just people are tired of it. It's not. I don't think it's just a theater thing. I think it's just they're tired of what you're giving them. And then movies with smaller budgets that are independent or that are different or that are things people, relate to are kicking your ass. And they have a much smaller budget, so they don't have the footprint you have to make up for.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like you said about the cost, people look at return on their investment, right? And this is kind of what's going on with everything when it comes to entertainment, and same with comic books and stuff like that. Like, it's not a good value proposition for most people to spend $5 on a floppy comic that takes a couple of minutes to read and is of varying quality, right? It's not a good value proposition when, kids especially can take that $5 and they can go buy, Robux or V-Bucks or something and, play a video game and get a lot more return on that. And it's the same with streaming. $10, $15, $20 for a streaming service. You can watch in your own home. You can pause it. You can go to the bathroom. You can make your own snacks, and you've got like infinite movies to watch. Right.
And that's
who
the
cares
problem.
if they're
Theaters
old?
Can't compete because they're too expensive, but they have to have the ticket prices raised because the studios want more and more money to offset their losses. And then they make most of their money for concessions. The concessions are getting ridiculous. And it's just people don't, it's not even just a ticket anymore. A family of 4 could go to the movies and easily pay $70, $80 just to go to see one movie. And I'm like, that's how many months of streaming service, at least, 3 or 4, depending on what streaming service it is. And they keep raising the prices on those too.
It has to be an event.
People can't. Yeah, it has to be something people really want to go see in theaters. And it could be even old movies, and that's what they're banking on because people don't give 2 shits about the new stuff that they're crapping out. Hollywood doesn't know what they're doing. They're creatively bankrupt. Now you have tech companies coming in and buying stuff up. And they're not going to know how to do movies either, but at least they might come up with original ideas that people will go see.
Yeah, I would say Netflix.
Netflix clearly knows what they're doing on making stuff. They've been doing it for years.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Stranger Things, One Piece did okay. You know what I'm saying? Like they actually have a lot of things.
Then we have Cowboy Bebop. That's a whole other story.
And then we have Cowboy Bebop. That was a bad idea, just from the get-go. And I thought One Piece was going to be a disaster too, and it might be before it's all said and done. But anyway, I think they're attuned more to what people want. They're willing to take risks because they're so flush with cash. But I don't. Netflix is probably the worst case scenario for Warner Brothers because I do not see them wanting to release a lot of movies unless they know the movie is going to make bank. Like, if
I don't think Comcast is going to work out very well either.
No, they're going to be the same thing. They're going to be like, we've got these characters, and we've got them for our theme parks, but we'll put stuff on Peacock or whatever. Yeah,
they're going to take. If they're going to do stuff with Universal, it's going to be their stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's looking too good for theaters. I don't think it's looking too good for movies in general. Which for at least going to theatrical releases. And I honestly don't feel bad about it because I'm not a really big. I have to go to the theater type person anyway. Yeah. I've never been because it costs so much damn money. And I have to go sometimes, but I don't go anywhere near what I used to. I don't need to.
I used to go a lot when I was. Probably late teens, early 20s when I first moved out. And I had
you were by yourself. You only had to pay for one ticket, one person.
I had a shitty apartment, and I used to go. There's a movie theater close by. There's a mall close by, so I used to go to the movie theater a lot. But I didn't have cable or anything. I had my PlayStation hooked up to my TV, and that was basically it. But I'd go to the theater every Saturday. Usually, I would go to a matinee of something. But it was still cheaper for me to go to the theater, the matinee, than it was for me to have cable every month back then, because it was like $3, $4. That's how old I am. It was a couple of bucks, and that's what I did. I worked Saturday mornings. After I was done, I would go to the theater because it was close by to where I worked, and I'd watch a movie by myself because it was sad. But that was my TV basically.
That was before me.
It was before.
Now he probably wishes he could still go see movies by himself.
No, there's nothing worth seeing.
That's your answer. I've
got a much better view at home, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, all I can think of is smile more.
Next episode is going to be one of us by ourselves, and they'll be like, they got divorced. No. See, Kneon constantly makes these comments that he doesn't think through. Like, our kids are still entertained by his smile more comment because I said about, I'm going to get these lines by my mouth. I don't like that. And he goes, well, if you smiled more. And my kids are right there.
And they were like, oh.
In my head, it sounded better. So here's the thing.
They still bring it up. Like, okay, Dad, tell her to smile more.
I have was it emotion? They have IQ and EQ, which is emotional.
Oh yeah, he has no emotional
I have like I'm definitely in the single digits on emotional intelligence.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I can read people very well, but it's funny though. Anyway, it was just funny. You're just like,
yeah, I say some things that I don't, and it's not malicious. I just don't think.
Well, y'all heard it here first. So.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of the end, and that's how they got divorced. Anyway, it's not looking too good. Snyderverse
for buying out Warner Brothers, not this. Anyway,
just real quick here, we'll throw it in since I have pulled up. But yeah, people are clamoring for the Snyderverse. They're like, wait, if Netflix buys it, maybe there's a chance. There's still a chance we'll get the Snyderverse.
I don't think there's a chance.
Well, I mean, didn't Snyder do that, whatever that knockoff Star Wars thing was?
Yeah, and it didn't do great.
It didn't do very good.
I didn't watch it, but it didn't do great. So I don't know. I just think we're in a weird position now where everything is kind of like in flux, and it could go. It's definitely going towards streaming, and in the long run, it could destroy theaters. I don't know, but I think that everybody's watching to see who buys Warner Brothers, to see what happens. I still think it's going to go probably Skydance, Paramount.
Yeah.
But, Netflix has a lot of money, and they care about money. They don't care about your job. They don't care.
No.
They don't care if theaters stay open. They don't care, they're just trying to make their money and get out. So
yeah.
You're not looking at the bigger picture. So I don't know I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to find out.
All right. So we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.